Stephanie.
And I'm Rick.
And we're from Back to the Passport. And we decided to start a YouTube channel so we could better share our travel experiences, whether that's talking about reviews of experiences we had, or just to give you advice and help you understand what to expect when you're expecting to travel. And today we're going to be talking about our recent Royal Caribbean European cruise that we took, things we loved, things maybe we wish we had changed, or just things we wish we had known before we went on this adventure. So Rick and I are just going to talk about this a little bit, but I'm going to lead us off and kind of act like the host for this. So Rick, what was your general review of the cruise? Like, did you love it? Would you do it again? How different is it from our Caribbean cruises that we often do?
Yeah, I totally do it again. You know, it was a nice way to see places in Europe that we wouldn't normally go, like just to that place. So you can see like a lot of different places on one trip. Like compared to other cruises, that's one thing I was wondering about going into it, is like, how different is it going to be?
Yeah.
And
I think we both did.
Yeah, exactly. And at least I thought it was exactly the same as the Caribbean cruises. It was even the same ship. It was a Nassau, whatever.
Yeah, ship.
Ship, Bahamas station ship. So yeah, it felt exactly the same to me, except for the places we got off, obviously.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest difference for me, just the like excursions and the stops, because like you and I have been to Nassau so many times that we don't really get off there anymore, whereas like every place we went on this cruise, I'm like, we're getting off the ship and we're going and doing stuff, whether that's even just finding a bar and having some white wine. Like,
which
I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
What about the experience of getting on the cruise? Because again, we've done a lot of these from Florida. Mm-hmm. Very different doing it from Venice, where we had to get down to Ravenna, which was one thing I actually didn't even know when we first booked this. So we had another trip planned that got canceled. Found this cruise. It worked well with our time off from work that we already had. And it says it starts in Venice, but it's not really Venice. It's actually from Ravenna, which is about 2 hours away. And so we had to call Royal Caribbean to book transportation to get down there. So it's very different, but how do you feel they did with the transportation to Ravenna?
Yeah, I mean, we actually had to call somebody.
I know, that really sucked. That was the worst. And then we were dumb because we didn't know the difference between arrival and departure, but that's a story for a different day.
Yeah, we learned it though. We're good. So it was a little inconvenient to have to go from Venice to Ravenna, because I guess they used to leave directly from Venice.
Sounds like it.
Yeah. But it wasn't that difficult. You know, we used the people mover in Venice to get to the Trunchetto, and then we boarded a bus there that took us to Ravenna. So that was a little time consuming.
Yeah.
We waited in line for a while in Ravenna.
Oh my God. That was probably the worst part. Like, they told us to get there at 10:30 for our
Well, they said be there at 10:30. We're leaving promptly at 11.
Yeah,
I don't think
we did not leave promptly
noon.
at 11.
Like,
no.
Yeah.
And like, there's no shade. Like, you're literally just standing outside in this line, like along this fence, just waiting for it. And granted, if you got there super early, you got on right away. But yeah, I would say that was weird. Although I did appreciate that our hotel was super close to the people mover station, and that was only €1.50 for a ride on that.
Yeah, and it was easy, and I didn't have to wait.
Yeah, it reminded me of being in Disney World with like the trams.
The people mover?
Yeah. What about the check-in, check-out process? Because I think we both thought getting on board Royal Caribbean in Europe was a lot easier than it is in Florida. Or at least I thought so.
Well, yeah, I mean, the port in Ravenna was like tents. Like, there were no buildings. It was just like docks with like tents set up, which is very different from where we left from Miami or Port Canaveral, where there's, you know, a giant like building there right on the shore, or on the dock. So that was different, but we got through pretty fast. Like,
oh yeah, I think that was the fastest we've ever gotten through. Cause I feel like some of the other ones, they let us go through, and then we go wait over here, and then they call our group, and then we go wait over here, and then we go like check in, and then they have us wait over here. And then we finally got on the ship, and it was literally just zigzag, like walk in. Yeah, it was
one continuous line this time. We weren't like waiting. We didn't go through a line, wait, go through another line, wait again. It was just all the way through.
Yep. Yeah. Although we do, just as a note, you do go through like security, so they will be checking bags, all of that stuff. We did warn them that we were bringing wine on board. They just checked to make sure that it was secured and unopened, but otherwise super easy.
Yeah, with the wine, we had one bottle each that we could take on, and still, you won't call it still wine. You can't take sparkling wine.
Yep.
Basically, because we saw some that were confiscated like through the security line. So just be aware of that. Yeah. Corked or capped.
Just
non-sparkling
sealed.
ones.
Yep. What about our room? Did you think that was pretty on par with like other cruises we've done?
Yeah. I mean, cruise ship rooms are
small.
They don't vary much. They're a little small, but ideally we're not going to be in the room for that much of the day. And the time that we are, it's like I'm glad we get the balcony room is I think very nice to spring for.
Yep.
Because at least we've stayed in the rooms like the lower deck rooms before with just either like the tiny little porthole or no window whatsoever.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It is nice to have that balcony and be able to feel like, oh, there's actually the outside world on the other side of this wall rather than just being in a little prison.
I mean, I do think I still had like one of the best sleeps of my life in those rooms, just because they're so dark. They're so dark. You can't see anything.
That's true.
But I also like the balcony room. I think the only thing I would have changed about our room on this cruise is that our balcony wasn't see-through, like it wasn't glass. It was definitely an older ship. And so just like hanging out, like, yes, obviously I can see over the balcony railing, but I missed the windows just to be able to really get that full view.
Right. Yeah. I agree there.
What about our excursions? How are they different from cruises we've done in the past? Because I feel like besides booking those day beds at the Royal Caribbean Island, we don't do a lot of excursions. And we did, 4 on this one? I think 4.
4? Okay. Yeah. The only excursions that we've done before on the Caribbean ones were daybed at Coco Cay. No, we did the swimming with pigs also.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, they're
very different.
They're similar in the way that you you get off the boat, there's going to be somebody with a sign where your group's meeting, and then before you get off the ship, they give you the numbers, like the group number. So then it's group 17 or 5 or whatever. So it can be easy to find your group, although we did have some trouble in Split.
We'll talk about Split.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. What about the activities on board? I felt those were very on par.
Yeah.
It's just, you've got the ice skating show, the dancing show, the singing show, the trivia, the adults only games, even though there were a lot of kids at some of the adults only games, I thought. But
yeah, there's always something to do. There are nights where it's 8 or 9 and we're done with our last thing. What are we going to do now? But no, there's always something. You just look at the itinerary or the cruise compass and there'll be something.
Yeah. We'll talk about it later, but I would definitely recommend, even if you're not going with Royal Caribbean, whatever cruise line you're going with, download their app because they upload the schedule, so you can always find out what's going on, what's open, where to go eat, as if you don't get enough food, especially if you go to the buffet.
Right.
I mean, it's the tired cruise joke because everyone always makes fun of the buffet, but I like the buffet.
Buffet's nice. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the excursions and all the ports of call we did. So we did a 7-night European cruise that was Croatia and Greece. So we flew out early, which is also a tip that I would definitely recommend. Get to your destination, especially if it's international, a day or two before, at least. Not only to adjust to the time zone, but if anything were to happen to your flights, we actually got grounded in Denver because a thunderstorm was over it. It only put us an hour off schedule. But if you're cutting it pretty close flying in, that hour could make or break getting on the ship. And they will leave without you. They're not waiting.
Yeah, and we also made sure we had a longer layover in Munich. We went Denver to Munich and then Munich to Venice. And we had a 3-hour layover in Munich originally. But then, we were late leaving Denver, but it didn't matter. So,
and honestly, the transfer in Munich was super easy. Granted, we got there at 10:30 in the morning. Maybe even early. No, it was 10.
Something like that.
Yeah. But we got there, got off the plane. Luckily, we just did carry-ons for this trip, so I think that also helped speed things along. But then you go through security to get to the connecting gates. took 7 minutes maybe to get through that.
Yeah,
and
it was super easy.
Yeah, just checking passports, making sure that we're, not sneaking into the country and staying where we don't belong. We had enough time to go get some birthday beers since it was my birthday when we got there. Had a pretzel. You got to take a nap. And then we flew on to Venice.
It was nice. Yeah.
But again, I would definitely recommend just trying to get to the port of call early just to make sure that you have enough time to actually get on board the ship and you're not stressed out.
Yeah, I would say that's a good rule for any cruising, because we even do that when
we do that with Florida.
Domestically. We'll fly out to Orlando or Miami a day early, and don't have to worry about that day of stress.
Yeah. I guess going back to the travel itinerary, what was your favorite thing overall that we did?
Jeez.
And to make it easy, I will count Venice as separate.
I was going to say Venice. Yeah.
Okay. On the cruise itself, I would say my favorite thing was the island of Santorini. I was also really excited to see Croatia. I really wish we had been able to see more of it. Our original Croatia trip also included Dubrovnik, Zagreb. We only got to see Split, but it was still really cool. But I still think Santorini was the best. I will talk about the excursion that we did there because I did not think that was the best. But I still think we had the best day on that island because Ia was really cool to see. And then basically when we said, fuck it, we're done dealing with these crowds. And then we found a wine bar that had a nice view, had some drinks, just got to hang out. And then when we went to Fira, I really just enjoyed, relaxing, having a 4-hour lunch and just enjoying being there.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite things too. And how you say is the places that we ate in Greece, just overlooking the ocean or the water.
Yeah,
that was.
Yeah, because I think we both really liked Ia. It was very crowded. You could tell it was basically multiple cruise ships had shipped in a bunch of people. You could barely get through. But we definitely want to go back and see it and maybe actually stay on the island to really experience it. Definitely beautiful, but like I said, we'll talk about the excursion when we get there. I think there would have been a better way to get there that wouldn't have been as annoying, but still my favorite thing that we did outside of our time in Venice.
Sure.
All right, so getting on the ship, let's talk about packing really quick. Since we did both pack in carry-ons, what would be your number one packing tip for going on a cruise?
Pack as light as possible. We both went and a carry-on and a backpack or
a
purse.
Personal bag.
Yeah. And that was the way to go. It was so easy getting on the planes, not have to check bags, potentially losing luggage.
Yep.
So yeah, pack light, and it's easy. It was easy this time because it was a warm weather location, so that always makes it easier. But yeah, the fact of just having one carry-on, one personal item was good. I'd recommend that.
Yeah. I guess I have 2 packing tips. One, I would say just from personal experience, I ended up re-wearing some outfits more than I expected to, so you don't have to, like Rick said, pack light. It's okay if you re-wear an outfit, especially with all the different ports of call. I ended up re-wearing something a few times just because it was really comfortable and really cool and loose, especially since all the places we were going were super freaking hot. The week after we got home, we saw news stories about people passing out in Athens, but that would be one of my packing tips. My other one would be to pack anything that you want on that first day of the cruise in your personal item. We did get separated from our carry-on bags on the bus, they loaded them under. We could have waited and gotten them ourselves. Neither of us really wanted to do that, so we were just going to wait until they were delivered to our room, because they will be delivered to your room. So make sure that you print out those, what is that, a room locator?
The luggage tags.
Yeah, the luggage tags, so then they can deliver all of your stuff to you. But we got to keep our personal items, so I had a swimsuit packed in there, some flip-flops, so we could change out of our sweaty bus clothes and then go hang out at the pool, or just relax on our balcony if we wanted to. We also had our wine in case we wanted to get into that. But whatever you think you're going to need day of, just keep it with you instead of packing it away.
Yeah.
All right. Since you did say Venice was your favorite thing, what was your favorite activity that we did in Venice before getting on the cruise?
Probably our food tour.
Yeah?
Yeah. I got my favorite part about that food tour was the guide.
Barbara,
yeah. She was born and raised in Venice. And, you know, she knows these places. She took us to restaurants that have been around since she was a child, places that she went to with her family when she was a child. So like that level of like going where the locals go, that's kind of, I got that feeling that we actually got that as part of that food tour.
Yeah, and I would say, you know, right now we're planning a trip to Paris, and we were looking at doing a food tour there as well. Honestly, I couldn't find one that really interested me just because the food quality and the reviews, like what you were getting served on that tour, I'm like, well, we can go find that ourselves. Whereas I feel like on the Venice one, like we would have never known to order those little grilled cheese filled with anchovies. Probably never would have tried the onion pasta. Never would have had the hazelnut gelato like served in a glass.
Yeah.
Like that was different, and I liked that because, food tours can be hit or miss. We enjoy doing them, but you want to make sure that you're actually getting good value out of it. Whereas, looking at Paris ones, I'm like, I can order escargot when we go out. I can find French cheese. Yeah. But I definitely like that too.
Yeah.
I also think it's touristy as hell, but I loved our gondola ride.
Oh yeah, that too. That was fun too. Yeah, because going through like the small side canals and stuff was really neat.
Yep. And it was only 20 euros more. So we could have paid 80 just to do the Grand Canal, or 100 euros to do more of like the side canals and actually be in the shade.
So it was like 45 minutes? Or how long was it?
It was like half an hour.
Yeah, okay.
But definitely worth it. Our guide was great. He talked to us, where we had seen other gondoliers that were just on their phones the entire time. So it was kind of nice getting one that actually spoke to us. Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see the Grand Canal no matter which level you do or how much you pay. But yes, going through the side ones, and there was also you go by some buildings and the guy would be like, oh, this is where so and so lived or stayed, like celebrities or like famous, other famous people. So yeah.
All right. So we talked about Venice. Now let's talk about the time on the cruise. So all the different stops we had. So we stopped in Split, Croatia, Athens, Greece, Santorini, Greece, and Kefalonia, Greece. Originally, we were supposed to go to Olympia, but I guess there were some issues with getting the ship in there, so they swapped it out for Argostoli, which is on the island of Kefalonia. But going back to Split, what was your favorite thing that we did there?
What was the palace that we?
Diocletian's Palace.
Diocletian's Palace. That was pretty cool. Yeah, just like the history of it, why it's there, how it came to be. They filmed Game of Thrones there. Yeah. And that I liked our guide on that too. Like he was very engaging and entertaining, and
So that was an excursion that we did book through the cruise. We booked the open air sightseeing tour. So our first part of the trip was on a bus that just kind of took us around the city. So we saw the more, I'd say, modern parts of Split. And then it took us back in and dropped us off at Diocletian's Palace, which is the more historic part of the city. I really liked that. I'm also going to be a basic bitch and say I really like just hanging out on the Riva, the waterfront, and just having our wine. Although I still don't know why that lady wouldn't just let me order that 18 milliliter or whatever wine by myself. But
yeah, I know.
But I definitely enjoyed that. So
that was fun too.
Yeah. So there's the Riva. It's waterfront district. They've got little cafes everywhere. So we just holed up there because it was shady and it was hot in Split.
It's very hot. It was hot everywhere we went on this trip. But yeah, sitting there, people watching and drinking. And yeah.
I also really liked our lunch. So one of the things I knew I wanted to try is their squid ink risotto or their black risotto. And the one I had was so good.
Yeah, we both had good food for lunch. I had macaroni.
You did have macaroni.
Not American macaroni, not the same.
Didn't come from Kraft.
Yeah, it was like macaroni noodles, but it was not macaroni and cheese, like Yeah.
What is something that you would like to do next time we go back to Split? Or if we do go back to Split? I guess maybe that's a good place to start. Would you want to go back?
I'd go back. I don't know what I don't have for Split specifically. I don't know, but like Croatia in general, I'd go back to Croatia. Yeah.
See like the national park, like the waterfalls that we missed out on.
Yeah, we were supposed to do that on the other trip that got canceled because there was lots of like
national
was
parks.
A park, and water, like really cool looking nature stuff. Yeah. I'd like to go do that if we ever go back.
Yeah. I think the one thing that, at least in Split, I wish we had done, or wish we had had time for, which we tried to do it, just the line for the tickets was so long, but going to the top of that bell tower and just getting a bird's eye view of the city, I think that would have been really neat to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But no, I definitely want to go back to Croatia because I want to see Dubrovnik. I also, want to see some of their national parks and just experience more of it because I thought the people were very nice. I will say we were a little surprised at our lunch that it was a cash-only restaurant, so not sure if that's pretty general in Split on its own or just the place we went to, but it was a good thing we had a couple €100 on us to be able to pay for lunch. Otherwise, that could have been an awkward situation.
Dine and dash. Washing dishes.
All right. Is there anything we did in Split that you would recommend first-timers not even do?
Not to do?
Mm-hmm. There doesn't have to be anything. I don't think there's anything.
I mean, I feel like we weren't there long enough. We weren't there long enough to do enough things for me to say. Yeah. So.
Well, the one thing I really liked about Diocletian's Palace, like, even if you don't book a guided tour, it's free. Like, it's just a part of the city. Like, you can go in and explore it on your own. Like, Google it and read all about it and then go check it out yourself. Like, there are some parts that you do need a ticket for, but, like, if you just want to go see, like, the Sphinx and, like, the main square, it's all open. Even, like, the underground part where they filmed some things for Game of Thrones, it's free to go to, which I really liked.
Yeah.
Everywhere else, it's always...
Money.
All right. So next up on our tour was Athens, Greece. So what was your favorite thing that we did in Greece? Or in Athens?
Athens.
I mean, we didn't do that much in Athens.
Well, yeah, we did. We went to the Acropolis, and that was about it. So
Yeah.
I guess my favorite thing in Greece was the Acropolis.
Okay. Even though it was hot and crowded.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was so hot and so crowded. And what was the drink we had after we were leaving? That like red. It was like a frozen lemonade or something.
The strawberry lemonade.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
No, that was good.
That was your favorite thing, the strawberry lemonade at the Acropolis.
I mean, cooling down like after that, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, obviously the Acropolis was my favorite part too, and like I think there are other things that I wish we had had time to do in Athens, and now that we know more about what that excursion was, so technically we docked in Piraeus, and then it was like a 30-minute drive into Athens.
Yeah.
And, like, we saw other people taking cabs, so, like, if we ever go back, I'd feel a lot more comfortable just getting into the city and then figuring our own way back, knowing what we know now. But since it was our first time there, didn't really know what to expect. We just did our excursion, got back on the bus, and went back to the ship. So I was a little disappointed with our time because I was hoping we would have had a bit more time to explore Athens, and especially our excursion up at the top. Like, we walked up and hear the history of everything, and then it was, okay, you've got 20 minutes to go take your pictures and explore. And it's like, I can't read the plaques that fast in 20 minutes because there's a lot to see up at the top.
Yeah, we had limited time at the top, and even, like, I was expecting that we could, like, walk into the structures, and we couldn't.
No.
Like, it was all fenced off, and I don't know if that's normal or if something was going on when we were there, but we could. It was just walk around everything. You had 15-20 minutes and then get back on the bus or it's leaving.
Well, and that was the weird thing. We had 20 minutes up at the top, and then we all gathered and then walked down some stairs, and then it was, okay, you've got another 20 minutes here, and I'm like, why couldn't we just had 40 minutes up at the top and been like, you have to be back at the bus at this time. Like, I know where the bathrooms are. We would have figured it out.
Right. Yeah.
But all in, I still think it was definitely worth what we paid for because it wasn't that expensive of an excursion. I just wish we had had more time because Athens does seem like a really cool city. I mean, it's gigantic.
I mean, it's a city.
Oh yeah.
Like, we went to so many diverse city or like areas in Greece. You know, there's like the villages, the tiny little villages, and then Athens is just like a metropolis.
Yep.
So,
yeah, it reminded me of Rome, but like even bigger. And like, I don't know, like just, being up at the top and like looking out over the city, like it's expansive. Yeah. So I'm not even going to ask if there's anything that we wouldn't do because we didn't do much, but would you want to go back to Athens?
I'd go back to Athens. I think there's a lot more to do there. Like since it is so big, there's a lot to do, a lot to see. Depending on where you stay, and so yeah, I'd go back there.
Yeah, I would too. Because just preparing for the trip, there are quite a few more things, especially in the historic area, that I wish we had had time to do. And again, had we known that it would have been easier than we thought it would be to get back on the ship, probably would have stayed. But again, it being our first time, like, I'd rather not run that risk of missing our boat.
Sure.
Because was it Athens that we saw those people like literally running? So it's like gangway's up at 6:30.
Yeah.
The ship will leave without you.
The gangway was up at 6:30. Their cad pulled in at like 6:29, and they literally just pulled it up, the gangway up, as soon as they got on the boat, and everyone on the boat was watching them and cheering, and yeah, that was funny.
So be on time if you're ever going to do a cruise. When they say gangway up at this time, they mean it. They're not hanging out.
They'll leave you.
Yep.
They will leave you.
And they know you're not on the ship because you get your SeaPass card that you scan when you get off the boat and when you get back on. If you're not on, bye-bye.
Yeah.
Have fun in Athens.
Find your own way home. Yeah.
All right, so we talked a little bit about Santorini, but what was your favorite thing that we did?
The where we ate, what was it, Fira?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You like that? I did too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked that because we got to try like a meze plate, so a bunch of different like Greek appetizers. I got lamb. You got chicken
souvlaki. Yeah, and like we were again like on like the rooftop of this building overlooking the sea, and there's our ship down there, and it's it's beautiful.
Yeah, I really liked that too. And again, I really liked Ia. So Ia is the typical view you see of Santorini, the whitewashed buildings with the blue roofs.
When anyone says Santorini, that they're talking about Ia, most likely. Because even me, going into it, I thought Santorini was a city.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So.
Greek island.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's what everyone thinks of. And it was beautiful. But again, I think being in those crowds, because it's a small village. There's small little alleyways. Everyone is conglomerating in the same spot, blocking paths. Like, you get in there, you just want to take your photo. And I would say the one thing I wish we hadn't done was the quote-unquote photography tour that we booked, because it wasn't a fucking photography tour. Mm-hmm. Like, our day in Santorini, they had a bunch of different excursions. If I were to do it again, I would book the transportation that was like 30 euros or something to get us to Ia, because then we'd have our own free time. Whereas we booked this photography tour thinking like, oh, they'll take us to like hidden balconies, or they know someone in the town who's like, oh yeah, you can come take photos from my hotel.
Yeah.
Nope, it was literally we're on the bus driving up to Ia, and here comes the tour guide handing out selfie sticks, and this is your photography tour, and
then
it wasn't a lot of money too.
Yeah, they walk us up to the main square or area in the village.
Yeah.
And then just like, okay, bye. See you in 20 minutes.
Well, yeah, it was like, you can go this way or that way. Like, well, thanks. I have eyes. I could have figured that one out for myself.
Yeah. So like to label it a photography tour was a little egregious.
Yeah, and especially for how much it was. Like, again, there was like the best of Santorini tour we could have booked for like half the price.
Yeah. That
took us to Ia and Fira as well. So it was like, what was the point of booking this one? Like.
Yeah. So yeah, I think pros of Ia was, it was beautiful.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
They had great food, and lots of vendors and shops and stuff. Mm-hmm. The con is just the people.
Yeah.
Just the sheer number of, you're literally touching shoulders with strangers.
Yep.
Walking down the streets. It's insane.
Well, and then even trying to get to the photography locations, like, it's just a massive crowd of people. Everyone's pushing everyone else out of the way. I would love to go back, but again, I think we would book a hotel and actually stay on the island for 2 nights.
Yeah.
And again, it was hot. And so when we sat down for our wine, just overlooking it, and again, I think we had the best vantage point from that wine bar we went to, because we got to sit right out on the water, or over the cliff, whatever. Had a great view, got to be in the shade, got some wine. Granted, it was 20 euros a glass, but I'm okay with that because I just wanted to get out of those crowds. Mm-hmm. But I would love to stay at one of those hotels, because anywhere you looked, people just had private pools or like pools for the hotel. Like,
Yeah.
spend my day hanging out there with some wine and then wait for the sunset. Like,
Well,
sign me
because
up.
the hotels, the buildings and the hotels and stuff are situated so they're overlooking the water, and you don't even see or know about the crowds up behind
Yep.
you.
And then, like by the mid-afternoon, we were already back on the bus to go to Fira, which seemed everyone else was. So it's like, spend the actual day on the island. Like, I would love to go back to see it on a cruise again, but I would also love to just go do it on our own because I think we could figure it out.
Yeah.
And it was pretty.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. So you would definitely go back to Santorini?
I'd go back to Santorini and stay there for a few days.
Yeah.
Like in yeah.
Yeah, I would too. And then I also, I liked Fira. The donkey trail was kind of a surprise.
Was that where the donkey trail was? Oh yeah, we can't forget about the donkey trail. Oh my god.
So after our excursion ended, they took us to Ia and then back down to Fira because that's where our boat was docked. And you could either take like a cable car for €6 back down to get on the tender boat back onto the ship, or they had the donkey trail, which you could walk.
Well, so I'll say at least I didn't know it was the donkey trail when we started down it.
No, we just saw the trail.
When we were everywhere we were on Santorini, there's like donkey stuff, like donkey souvenirs, like towels with donkeys on them, which we have actually. So didn't really know what the donkeys were about. And then, oh, cool, look, there's this winding staircase that goes down to the water. We'll just walk down that. And then the smell
is what
got me first. I was like, why does it smell like a farm? Like, it reminded me of growing up as a kid in Missouri. Like, and then there's just the dozens and dozens of donkeys lined up along
there had to be hundreds. I swear to God, it's got switchbacks to get you down to the shore. Oh my God, I probably have like 300 photos just of donkeys alone. Granted, I'm psychotic when I take photos, but there were so many donkeys. And like, nobody was riding them. Like, I don't know if it's for people that are just going up to Fira from the ships that like pay to ride them up instead of, because I honestly don't think I'd want to walk that up.
No.
Even walking it down, my calves hurt so bad the next day.
Yeah. It's a long walk.
Long walk.
Yeah.
But I don't regret doing it. It
no,
was interesting.
I'm glad we did it. But we didn't see anyone riding the donkeys, so I don't really know what they were for.
Like, I assume they're transportation if you want them,
like
to go up or down it. But honestly, going down the trail was pretty easy. I will say it's rustic, like cobblestones and dirt
and donkey crap.
Yep. So if you're wearing either shoes that you absolutely love, maybe wouldn't recommend it, or you're not wearing shoes that have good traction, probably not the best, because even though it has switchbacks, it's pretty steep.
Well, and the stones are so worn down from people walking on them.
Oh, it's kind of slippery.
It's kind of slick,
yeah. Oh yeah, definitely don't do it if it's been raining and you don't have like good like athletic shoes on. Yeah, I would also go back. I would just go back to Santorini in general and either do Ia and Fira again because I thought Fira was cute.
Mm-hmm. I did too.
Very small, but very cute.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next stop was Argostoli, which is on Kefalonia. What was your favorite thing we did there? Because we didn't book any excursions for this. Again, this was supposed to be our Olympia stop that they swapped. So we kind of just expected to, almost like what we do with Nassau, like just get off the boat and like see where we end up.
Yeah, we just roamed around with no plans that day, which I like doing that. It's nice just to explore a city with no rhyme or reason.
No agenda.
Yeah. Place we had lunch was pretty good.
Yeah.
Had gyros.
Mm-hmm. A giant plate of meat.
Yeah.
So good. And then you got the Mythos beer?
Yeah, Mythos beer.
Yep.
And that place was good. The coolest thing though was the turtles, the sea turtles.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like he said with Santorini, all the souvenirs have little donkeys on them, and as we're walking around Argostoli, everything is turtle based, and we're like, what the hell is up with these turtles? Like, haven't seen any. And then as we were walking back to the ship, we're walking along like the waterfront, which was also really beautiful. And we see this guy like looking out into the water.
Yeah, there's like a man, there's like a couple, like looking in the water, taking pictures, and I was like, okay, well, let's go see what it is, And just these giant sea turtles just like flapping on the water. And, yeah.
Reminded me of being in Hawaii a little bit, like just seeing them out in the wild.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can see them at a zoo, but it's a little bit different when they're in their own habitat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad we actually saw them, because now it puts into perspective why there's turtles on everything.
We saw the turtles. We saw the donkeys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, Athens, theirs was an owl, but I guess I like wisdom, so I get it. But
we didn't see any owls.
We did not see any owls, but we also weren't there super late either.
Yeah.
All right, thinking of all the places we went, is there anywhere you wish we hadn't gone? Or if we were to do the same itinerary again, is there any stop that you would just skip or not get off the boat for?
I mean, maybe Athens.
Oh, really?
I mean, I know there is more to do there, but
just how far it is from where the boat docks to the actual city. Yeah, it's tough.
And I don't know, just it you know, Santorini was crowded, and Athens also, you know, just big city feels like a little more like crowded-ish.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I like the smaller, kind of like the smaller little villages.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say maybe Argostoli, just because again we didn't really have any big things to see. There were at least like Athens, like okay, we got to see the Acropolis and the Parthenon, like that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do wish, if anything, I would have loved to have like swapped Argostoli for like Mykonos or do that, but otherwise I really enjoyed this. Like, yeah, it wasn't the same as just doing a Caribbean or Mexico cruise. Like,
yeah,
we actually got to go out and like do things.
Yeah, I thought it was for our first European cruise. Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it was great. Yeah.
So all in, you would do another European cruise?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I've already got my eye on a few, but.
Oh yeah, we've already looked at other ones.
Like, where would you want to stop? Like, would you want to do, like, Finland and Sweden?
Yeah, I don't know, like places just like this one, like places that I wouldn't normally think about going, like on our own.
And I think that's why this one worked out well, because, like, I mean, personally, I've always had Greece on my bucket list, but I also wasn't in the mood for figuring that one out or figuring out how to plan it or where to go, what to do. So, again, I think that's why this cruise kind of falling into our laps worked out so well, because it was, okay, great, we can see it, cross it off, because, like, we also do a lot of guided tours with, like, go-ahead tours, and one of the things I do like about that is it takes you to places you should see, but then it takes you to smaller places that it's like, okay, it's neat that I saw it, but like, I'm never coming back here. Like, I've already seen everything there is to do.
Yeah, like Argostoli. Like, I'm sure we'll never go back there.
No.
And that's fine.
Yep.
It's like, we got to see it.
We saw it.
Like,
we shopped.
Any other time, we wouldn't have seen it any other way, likely. Nope. So, yeah.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I would definitely love to do another cruise. And, yeah, I don't know if we'd want to continue to check out more of the Greek islands or head over to, like, Spain and do that and potentially even drop down into, like, Morocco and Africa.
Yeah.
But I would definitely do it again.
Yeah,
I mean,
lots of options.
We've already got another cruise planned, but it's back to the Caribbean next time.
Yeah, we're going back domestic, so, or well, I guess Caribbean is not domestic, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We're leaving domestically.
We're leaving from, what, Florida?
Miami, yeah.
All right. Any other things we didn't talk about with as it concerns like the European cruise, the experience, what to expect, what was different?
Well, one thing I thought was different, I thought that the entertainment on the ship was better, was like higher quality.
Okay.
Than our other cruises. I don't know, just one thing I noticed.
Yeah. I also liked our tour director and like all the people that coordinate all of that. I thought they all had a lot of personality and seemed like they actually enjoyed what they did instead of the people that just trot on out and like obviously hate their lives.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, all in all, it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I thought it was exactly what... It was interesting because I didn't know what to expect, but after being on it, I'm like, oh, it's literally just being on a Royal Caribbean cruise. Like, the buffet is pretty much the same. The bars are the same. Staff, for the most part, was the same. Like,
yeah, so, it felt very familiar.
Yeah. Kind of seems like no matter where you go, you're going to get the same experience. I think really the biggest difference I noticed was obviously, like, a lot of the clientele was more, like, that table we heard that we were like, are they Scottish or Irish? Like trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
And then when they do the announcements, they had to do it in multiple languages, which they typically don't when we're in the Caribbean or Mexico, but
yeah.
All in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that wraps up our review of our cruise experience and kind of what to expect, what we loved, what we maybe wouldn't do again. Check the Back to the Passport blog for even more in-depth reviews of some of these activities, as well as some of our travel itineraries for like Split, Santorini, a day in Athens, what we would do next time. But thanks for watching, everyone.
Peace.